When did you realize you married the wrong person? Story 1. One day I realized I had become a smaller version of myself. Story 2. When she sat me down and with a straight face said, "I've thought about this and you're not going to exercise anymore." I was jogging a few miles a day and would usually bring kids with in running stroller. She said, "You're a father and it's too time-consuming." That's when I realized I made a terrible mistake. Catching her with another man in my car didn't help the case to stay married. Story 3. When I realized if we weren't dating, I wouldn't have wanted to be his friend. Totally different, but I realized exactly that at a young age with my mother. That if she wasn't my mom, if she were closer to my age, I wouldn't want anything to do with her. For many, many reasons, I had to cut off communication with her. I don't have to suffer in a relationship with her just because she gave birth to me. Story 4. This post made me think of a quote by Robin Williams. I used to think the worst thing in life was to end up all alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is to end up with people that make you feel all alone. Story 5. I realized that I was hiding good news from her because I knew she would make me feel bad about it. I hoped she was going to grow up and stop being selfish and childish. She never did. This was my ex. As soon as I graduated and starting follow my dreams, I would withhold telling her any small wins or successes because she was so insecure. She was never genuinely excited for my wins or goals. Story 6. 6 months after our wedding, when I found out about the emotional affair through text messages. He says only emotional, but I'm pretty sure it was physical too. He had sent his affair partner screenshots of my texts to him, in which I was begging him to talk to me and tell me what was wrong. They both proceeded to make fun of my desperation to fix my marriage, and his affair partner said something along the lines of, "Poor Valiant, she doesn't know anything and keeps begging you for attention and affection." The moment I read those words, I realized how big of a mistake I had made. Story 7. When I came home from the emergency room after being diagnosed with a severe lung disorder, and she immediately left me with the kids so she could go out drinking with friends. Her exact words were, "I need you to make them dinner. I'm running late to meet up with everyone." I feel you. Few years back, I had a 104-degree fever, passing in and out of consciousness, talking in my sleep, etc. I was in a bad way. My now ex-wife wakes me to ask if I'm okay and tells me that she's going shopping with her friend right now. We had a 5-year-old that she left in my care despite my state, so she could go shopping. At 2 p.m., I finally managed to stay awake long enough to feed our child after the poor kid tried to wake me for the 20th time. He was also very excited about this Christmas kids party thing I'd promised him a week earlier I'd take him to. She could have taken him, but no, shopping. Anyway, I divorced her a couple years later. There was a lot wrong, but this one event is the one that sent me over the edge. Story 8. I realized like 5 years into our 19-year marriage, but the nail that made me leave was when my ex said that our children hadn't earned his love, and that shook my whole foundation. Literally speechless for 2 days, and then I started thinking, wondering if I had earned his love yet, and I couldn't stop those kind of thoughts. You don't earn love. It is freely given, especially to children. Edited for confusion. I realized early on he wasn't right for me, but we had 3 kids, and our youngest is special needs, so I stayed. He didn't make this statement until 2 years ago, when I asked why I never heard him say "I love you" to the kids while they were growing up, and that's when he told me about the earning. I asked for the separation and divorce shortly after that. Story 9. We were in the bathroom getting showered and dressed for a friend's wedding. I was in the best shape of my life at the time, feeling good about myself, and I thought I looked good in that suit. She was finishing her makeup, and I remarked at how beautiful she looked. I waited for her to say something nice in reply, but she didn't. And it just hit me. I couldn't remember a single time that she complimented me on my appearance. So I said that to her. I said, "You know, I always tell you how beautiful you are, and how attracted to you I am, but I never recall you ever saying that I look good, or that I look handsome." She stopped applying her mascara long enough to dismissively roll her eyes at me. So I made the mistake of asking her, "Do you even find me attractive?" And she flatly said no. I asked, "Why did you marry me then?" And she said, "I didn't think it was important at the time." I never felt so ugly and unloved, and it hurt even more when I had been feeling so good about myself for once in my life 30 seconds earlier. Story 10. I had no idea how he felt about me. Almost 9 years together. He didn't propose, I did. He didn't tell his family when we married. They found out online. He never shared his energy or emotions with me. I ultimately had a realization that I didn't even know what he thought of me, other than that I was pretty. I didn't know if he thought I was cool or funny or interesting or smart. I would share myself with him. My thoughts, interests, humor. I'd get nothing in return. I realized it had always been this way. I felt unseen, unheard. I felt like I was boring and uninteresting. I didn't feel special. I just wanted to feel some sort of connection. I wanted our souls to meet. He seemed incapable. Edit. I have a few people asking why I stayed or why I proposed or why I married. We met really young, we went through a lot of firsts together. He was respectful, he was on track to a good path. I had a challenging home life. Although he was emotionally absent, he was secure, and I never had felt security before. Story 11. I came home from a long day of work to find burn marks all over the carpet and linoleum. My then husband had spent the entire day playing games on his PC. While doing so, he had been ignoring our dog, who had managed to somehow get a hold of a phone battery, bite through it, and cause a small fire. Thankfully, the dog wasn't injured. This event, on top of finding out shortly before he had been lying about going to community college for almost a year, was the turning point where my feelings passed away. Story 12. It was actually almost immediately after getting married. Our relationship had taken a nosedive as soon as we moved in together. But after we got married, while we were in Greece on our honeymoon, he absolutely lost his mind on me in public. I had wanted to go see a beach on the island that is supposed to be one of the most beautiful in the world. So we tried to catch the bus, but it never came. He screamed at me, telling me he hated traveling with me, and how could I ruin his vacation like this? Then we walked to the beach nearby, and he went swimming with his two friends, who he insisted come with us on the trip. I was too stunned and humiliated to do anything except sit on a beach chair and cry. Story 13. One of the first was when I realized she didn't trust me. We had been together around 10 years at this point, but I had a moment of clarity and literally said to her, "You don't trust me, do you?" Before she could answer, I said, "You don't trust anybody." And she agreed. She would routinely throw the kids out of the tub in the bathroom completely without clothing because they splashed her while getting a bath. And not just that, she would yell at the top of her lungs at how bad they were. The kids were around 2, 4 at the time. God forbid the toddler splashes the water in the tub. Another time, I don't even remember the cause, but I tried to play mediator, as in, "Okay, daughter, you did something wrong. Let's apologize to mommy." And she would. Then I'd ask mommy to apologize to our daughter for her role, and mom absolutely refused to apologize. I've known this lady more than 20 years, and I've never heard her apologize. Literally never. The final straw was when one of our kids wanted a hug goodnight before bedtime. She locked herself in our bedroom and refused the hug because she had hugged them earlier in the day. Kids were crying. They didn't understand. I was devastated watching this unfold. Why doesn't mom want to hug me? I try my best to not let it impact me. But we share custody now, and I have to watch how she interacts without kids. It's hard. The best consolidation is the kids are getting older and they're starting to figure it out. Story 14. About a year and a half into our marriage, she got an internship with Disney and had to move to the other side of the county for 7 months. 6 months into the internship, she tells me that she met someone else. She continued to lie me along for another 6 months, saying she doesn't want to get divorced, but she's just been really confused. It turns out she just wanted to keep using me to pay all the bills while she finished her degree. Once she was a month away from finishing school, she admitted that she never really wanted a relationship with me. She only started dating me to make her ex jealous. Had been betrayal on me for about 90% of her 10-year-long relationship, and only around because her ex didn't want to get back together, and she didn't want to take care of herself. She told me she knew this most recent guy she was betrayal with was the love of her life after 3 weeks. They had a kid together less than a year after we got divorced and split up within 2 years. Story 15. When he didn't mention me in his speech at our wedding, he thanked everyone else, commented on the bridesmaids, talked about our daughters. I may as well not have even been there. First night of our honeymoon, I got sick, and he left me alone in our room to go watch something on the big screen on the beach. So much for sickness and health. Story 16. When I realized he is exactly like my dad. Temper, demeanor, lack of emotion. I was so young I didn't see it, and it took 9 years and the right person telling me I was right and needed to get out. Slowly taking the steps. Thank you for watching till the end, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.